Space Marine 2 is the steroid injection I've dreamt of my entire life, probably because I can actually afford it. The story follows Titus, or Titus if I may, who is part of an elite force called the Space Marines. This is what women think 6 foot is compared to 5'11". He is joined by his fellow Space Marines Carrion and Gadriel, whose voice just does not match his face. The Space Marines have one goal and one goal only, and that is kill the heretics! This is actually my favorite Warhammer game, and it is also my first. Now, even though I don't know jack shit about Warhammer lore, I still like this story because 1. The cutscenes are just awesome. 2. The acting is good all across the board, and I actually even got a little bit invested in Titus as the game went on.
I'm honored to fight beside you, boss. As are we, brother.
And 3. The themes this game deals with actually resonate with big masculine men like me. Oh yeah, the sleeves are coming up. We're going wild in this bitch. Duty? Check. Bravery? Check. Brotherhood?
We will never get this planet's stench out of our armor.
Compared to your usual aura, it is an improvement, brother.
Although I don't get why the characters act like complete poopy brains at times, because this general will be like, Titus, this is the most important mission in the history of Space Marines. Very well, sir. I'm gonna need at least 10 men on this mission with me since it is such a big deal. Actually, Titus, the most I can spare for you is these 2 babies. Good luck with the objective. Most modern games like to pretend that masculine themes don't exist and then end up blaming gamers when their newest slop eventually flops. Something else they forget is that games are supposed to be fun. Holy shit, this is amazing! The gameplay of Space Marines 2 is pure video gamey enjoyment. This is Gears of War if it didn't shit the bed.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
You have primary guns, sidearms, temporary heavy guns, and melee weapons. The power sword makes your inner child scream with joy. The thunder hammer is a giant bonking machine. But my favorite's gotta be the OG chainsword, because just look at it, dude. In terms of defense, you have dodging and parrying, which can kill small enemies instantly and set up other enemies for powerful gunshots. But that's not all, folks, because in the operations mode, which is basically an adjacent story to the main campaign, you get to choose between different classes, each with different perks, and holy shit, is that a grappling hook? Not to mention you can actually drown in the drips here.
I like my cheese drippy.
Shut up, scammer. This isn't Devil May Cry, so you won't be awed by the mechanics of combat, but by the sheer badassery that oozes from this game. In Space Marines 2, you do not hide behind cover. You are the cover. It throws at you some of the largest hordes I've ever seen in a game and tells you to go turn them into red paste. Hell, your mother even makes a cameo as a boss fight. How this game handles scale and spectacle is something that these soft-ass My Little Pony companies can't even comprehend. The sense of impact as you rip and tear these lizard creatures limb from limb is just biblical. I have a feeling that these animators must have been a team of the best 5-star chefs on the planet, cause they absolutely cooked with the finishers. Forget all of those pussy-ass miniguns you're used to, because this game is the most fun I've had using a minigun since Doom Eternal. Here's my video on that masterpiece of a game. There's also a rage mode, because of course there is. And man, whenever you get the jetpack, it's just game over at that point. This is bloody, gory satisfaction dialed up to 11, and I absolutely love it, dog! Any game that lets me annihilate enemies by simply running through them is genius in my book. The game feel here is fucking incredible. I mean, you know the game is fire when even the defensive moves look like this. This game is so fun to play single player, so I could only imagine how much fun it would be to fuck around with your mates here. I say imagine because no one else in my friend group owns it, and that is heresy, brother!
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Just like every game, Space Marine 2 also has its own fumbles, which these hype train early copy praise or shit on a game depending on what the trend is content be sloppy YouTubers won't tell you about, but I will. First, where Space Marine 2 doesn't differentiate itself from other modern games is with the PC optimization, because it also seems like an afterthought here as well. I've said it before and I'll say it again, DLSS absolutely ruined PC gaming by giving developers yet another excuse to not optimize their games when porting them to PC. Obviously the game looks good, but not good enough to justify the performance cost. There are many games out there that look and run miles better than this game. The performance is just weird because at times the game will be running fine even when there's tons of enemies on screen and blood, sweat and cum is flying all over the place, but other times it drops below 60 FPS when practically nothing is going on. This happens regardless of system specs, and changing the settings from high to low practically makes no difference either. Oh, and the game also crashed on me once. What the hell is happening? Second, the pricing. On PC, which is where I played the game, the standard edition of Space Marine 2 costs 2,800 rupees, but on PlayStation, it costs 4,800 rupees. So PC players are getting screwed in terms of performance and console players are getting screwed in terms of price. Makes sense. Next, some of the sections in this game are just a giant waste of time. For example, look at this shit. This is a poor man's version of a Plague Tale. They really just put floating PNGs and thought we wouldn't notice. And any section where you have to hold position or defend something is a nightmare because the AI companions are only good for one thing, and that is reviving your goofy ass. Which finally leads me to the difficulty. You know, after reviewing so many games, I am convinced that most game developers today just do not understand difficulty options. Once again, the only difference the difficulty setting makes is how much damage you deal and take, and my god, I'm honestly sick of this crap. I haven't talked a lot about guns till now, and this is the reason why. So what? How the hell is he still alive after 3 sniper headshots? Instead of testing your actual skill, there are so many times where Space Marine 2 tests your patience more than your girl as you slowly and endlessly chip away enemies' health, especially in boss fights, while they can just take out half of your health bar with a single weak-ass looking random bullshit go-ass attack. It also doesn't help that the camera is ass! This is what the game calls the intended experience, by the way.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived.
But overall though, I still had a lot of fun with Space Marine 2, and that is what happens when the developers focus on making an actually fun game instead of pushing an agenda. I'm not even kidding when I say this. This game straight up had me pulling out war cries in my room, dog. This is a based game made by based people, which is leagues ahead of any of the slop we get nowadays.
Oh, Tarsh isn't the first non-binary member of the Lords.
Shut your fucking mouth!
No bullshit virtue signaling, just straight masculine energy and video gamey joy. And that is why Space Marine 2 is not just the game that we deserved, it is also the game we needed. A huge thank you to everyone who stuck around till the end of this video. The Emperor protects.